This celebrating the temporary is a key component to thriving in challenging times, which is what we've been talking about this month, thriving in challenging times. We talked about the gift of choice. We talked about knowing what we really want and living like we know what we really want and talking like we know what we really want. And now we're talking about living a life of celebration no matter what's going on. Living a life of celebration by celebrating the temporary. That's a part of the thriving. Thriving meaning to grow and expand and flourish and succeed and to be big. And that's what we're doing here. We're thriving. The quote that I have used for challenging times, I forget every week who the author of the quote is, but the quote is that we all have a series of great opportunities brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. We all have a series of great opportunities brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. And when we recognize that they are really just great opportunities, then we start to take those opportunities, take advantage of those opportunities, use and utilize those opportunities. And what we have the opportunity right now to do is to celebrate this moment, to celebrate the temporary. The temporary is that which is impermanent, that which does not last, which means that everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. The only permanence is God. The only permanence is our source. The only permanence is that divine intelligence that always is. That always is. Because when you are in the moment, when you are in the only time that is, which is now, there's only is. There's no was or will be. There's only is in the now moment. And so when we hitch our star to the God wagon, I always want to hitch the wagon. When we hitch our star to the God wagon, then we can be anchored in that permanence in such a way that we can celebrate the impermanence, celebrate the temporary, enjoy, honor, observe. That's what celebrate means. Enjoy, honor, observe. And so I'm inviting you to celebrate the temporary. Celebrate that impermanence in our lives. And we celebrate it by being fully present in each and every moment of each and every day. We celebrate it by recognizing the power and the presence of God in each and every moment and each and every day. And when we remember that, then we get a chance to walk the path of ease and grace. We get a chance to walk the path of love. We get a chance to walk the path of thanksgiving. We get a chance to walk the path of celebration, of living fully. So I got 3 things for you again today in celebrating the temporary. And that is to develop an acute awareness of where you are. Develop an acute awareness of where you are. You know the saying, wherever you go, there you are. 2 interpretations. Wherever you go, there you are. Not trying to run away from something, not trying to run to something, not trying to hide. Wherever you go, there you are, meaning be there. Because when you're there, you're here. Right? When you're there, you're here. So be wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you go, here you are. Be there fully. Be there fully. The second interpretation of that is wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are. So whatever it is you're trying to run away from, wherever you go, you take it right with you. And the question always is, when you're running away from something, what are you running to? So what are you running to? Because if there's anything that needs to be changed, it goes right with you. It may change names. It may change the way it looks, but the issue is the same. We take it right with us. Wherever you go, there you are. So develop an acute awareness of where you are. And then be there and appreciate that and live fully in that moment, in that place where you are. Live fully in that place where you are. Develop acute awareness of it. And we develop awareness of things through our senses, through our sensory perception. How does this feel that I'm experiencing right now? How did it feel, the experience that we just had in here with the music and the vibration? How did that feel? How did that sound? Be fully present with it. What did it look like? What did it look like? Was there a smell to it? Was there a taste that I got? What did I experience? That's the only way we can celebrate the temporaries, through our senses. And when we are doing that, that's when we begin to thrive. That's when we begin to thrive in our individual lives, in our community here, in our world at large. When we are being where we are. Being where we are. Being aware of where we are. Always. Always. Tune into your senses. That's what we do in visioning. I've mentioned to you, I think last week and the week before, that we have a vision corps that started back at the end of May, that we've been visioning and visioning and visioning and visioning. Every week we vision. We vision to catch God's vision for itself as Creative Living Fellowship. We vision so that we can know how does God see itself as Creative Living Fellowship? Because this is a divine idea in the mind of God. This place, us, all of us, divine idea in the mind of God. And so we move into that meditative state, envisioning, and open ourselves up so that God can reveal to and through us what its idea of itself as this place, as each of us is. We've been getting some really good stuff. We've been getting some really good answers. We've been getting some really good notions of thriving. Really good notions of thriving. We initially saw seeds being planted. That was coming up. Different people was getting seeds being planted. And then there was greenery coming up. That were not quite blossoming, but a lot of greenery, like strawberry and all that coming up, greenery growing. And it was always coming down through the sanctuary. We're getting a smell of honeysuckle and different kinds of fragrances that were coming up in the visioning. And then we started getting this big white flower. More and more, this big white flower. And each time it comes through, it's bigger and bigger and bigger. And it got so big in one visioning that there was no roof on the place to contain it. That's expansion. That's growth. That's thriving. That's an idea of how God sees itself as this community, as this place and this space. That's what thriving is all about. And when we're envisioning, we tune into it through our senses. What does it feel like? What does God's vision feel like? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? Does it have a smell? What does it look like? And these are the things that are being revealed. And so that's what we get through being in a place of celebrating the temporariness of life. We get to see what God's vision, because God has a vision for each and every life here. We are all divine ideas in the mind of God. God knows exactly what it wants to look like and act like and be like through you, through me, as me. And it reveals itself according to our own uniqueness, which is wonderful. That means that we don't all have to be the same. We're all one, but we're not all the same. Isn't that great? Wouldn't it be boring if we were all the same? Yeah. So we celebrate the temporariness of life. And when we're celebrating the temporariness, I get to see you. I get to hear you. When we greet each other in the meet and greet, we get to see each other. We get to connect with each other in a way that we would not if our minds were someplace else. We were trying to be off someplace else. Or we were trying to be over this place and avoid this or that or the other. When we are fully present in the moment, we get to connect. We get to really connect. And when we're connecting with that God presence within, we're connecting with the God presence within each and every one of us. Within each and every one of us. And so, develop an acute awareness of where you are, and then be there. Be there. Not do there. Be there. Be in that place. That takes some doing to be. It really does. Got it? Yeah. Just be. Be there. Open up. Breathe. Allow. Be fully present in the moment. That's how you will thrive and grow. That's the way we all will thrive and grow. Develop an acute awareness of where you are. The second thing is to let go of the should blanket. We all are kind of like Linus at times. We all have a should blanket, and we drag it around. It attaches itself to us. And when we go through our lives, there's a should do this, or you should do that, or we should have done this, or we shouldn't have done that, whatever the case may be. And it's always past and future. It's mostly past. Mostly past, the should-haves. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but the should blanket on us. And you know when we can let go of that should blanket? Because the should blanket keeps us back to what we didn't do. It keeps us back to how things used to be. And when we are caught up in the way things used to be, there's no way for us to move forward. There's no way for us to be in the moment. There's no way for us to experience the riches and the blessings of the present moment because we're caught up in what was. We're caught up in what was. And when we're caught up there, we can't be fully present here. We can't celebrate the temporary because we're not where it is. We're not where it is. Keeping in mind when we're talking about changes and temporariness and all that, that everything in life has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then a new beginning. A beginning, a middle, and an end, and then a new beginning. That's what we're experiencing right now. And you know you can experience all of that at the same time because life is a cycle. Just, it moves in cycles. We are experiencing an end. We experience an end of something, an end phase of CLF. And then we went through a transition period and started a new beginning. And then we experienced another end, and then we are in transition, and now we're starting a new beginning, and then there's some endings back here. So it all goes the same way. It all goes the same way. But I'm doing it this way, but the circle really moves forward, because life is always moving forward. Life doesn't move backward. Life is always moving forward. Let's take a breath. It's always moving forward, and we want to move forward with it. We want to move forward with it. Move forward with it. I think about the beginning, middle, and end of new beginnings, like life being like a plane ride. When you're on a plane and the plane stops and some people get off, that's the end of their trip, and other people get on, that's the beginning of theirs, and there are those who stay on. The flight attendant said, if you're continuing with us, stay in your seats so we can get a good count. And those are people who are in the middle. And the people who are getting on are beginning, but they're ending something, whatever they left behind. And the people who are getting off are ending their trip, but they're beginning something else. So we're always beginning, or in the middle, or at the end, and looking for a new beginning. And when we are doing that, when we are present in the moment, we can know exactly where we are. And we can know exactly how to be in that place. We don't have to worry about going back to another place or trying to scurry to get to another place. We can be right where we are. Right now, as I explained a few weeks ago, we are in the middle. We are in transit. This transitory moment is where we are. And so we are moving through, and we're moving through, and we're putting one foot in front of the other, and we're putting one foot in front of the other, and we're putting one foot in front of the other, and we're remembering to breathe as we do that. And we're beginning to experience the allness and the fullness of life. Because when we're doing that, we're experiencing the allness and fullness of God when we're in the present moment. Because that's where God is in the present moment, always. God is always fully present, showing up fully. And when we show up fully, we can be fully present with God. And when we can be fully present with God, we can be fully present with each other as we move through our lives. And we can make changes, whatever changes that need to be made, and we can be guided, and we can be directed, and we can be fully blessed because we experience the allness and the fullness of our lives. The third thing is to joyously say yes to life. Joyously say yes to life. Did you hear that word? Joyously? Joyously say yes to life, which means getting rid of, letting go of resistance, letting go of the naysaying, letting go of whatever, the fears and the doubts and whatever. But joyously saying yes to life with gratitude and thanksgiving. Now that Thanksgiving's coming up. Joyously saying yes to life. Letting that be your mantra. Letting that be your mantra. That you're resisting nothing. That you're just open. And when we're open, we're in that place of allowing God to move through us, to show us, to guide us, to direct us. Wherever it is we need to be, that's how we thrive. That's how we celebrate the temporary, by joyously saying yes to life. As I said, taking off the should blanket and realize that it's a little wily. It'll sometimes creep out of the dumpster that we sometimes put it in. And before you know it, it's wrapped around us again. But letting it go. Letting it go. Because once we start saying yes to life, we don't need a should. So don't go shooting all over yourself. You know? Just let it all go. And let your mantra be, and I'm going to ask you to repeat it with me. I joyously say yes to life. Today I joyously say yes to life. Today I joyously say yes to life. This moment I joyously say yes to life. This moment I joyously say yes to life. I am always saying yes to life. I am always saying yes to life. I say 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 yes to God. I say yes to God. Yeah. And so it is. Bring it into your hearts. Yes. That's how we celebrate the temporary. So let's take a deep breath. Let's turn within. Let's say yes to God. Let's move into prayer. As we breathe into this yes moment, I'm saying yes to the only thing that is. The only power, the only presence, the only life, the only mind, the only breath. God's life is what I choose to call it, God. My life, no separation, no difference. That onlyness that is God is my life and the life of each of us here this day. It is always living and moving and having its being in us. It is always breathing us. It is always, 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 always thriving and growing and expanding through each of us. It is always living its highest idea of itself in and through each of us as we allow it to. And so we open ourselves up now as we release and let go of anything that would block this allness and this fullness and this isness that is God. We release doubts and fears and naysaying and smallness and unforgiveness and anger and resentment and all that stuff in which our hearts get caught. We let all that stuff go, and as we do so, we create a space. We create a space for love. We create a space for peace. We create a space for harmony. We create a space for forgiveness. We create a space for compassion. We create a space for God to fully reveal itself. And we allow it to have full sway with each of us, healing each and every aspect of our being. And so I'm so grateful to speak the word for us this day. Just speaking a word of healing, just knowing that healing is already taking place. It's already happened. The minute we let go of any sense of separation from God, healing has already happened. Wholeness is already revealing itself. And so I pause momentarily so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer this day. You may speak their names silently or aloud, and you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each of them is, blessing and keeping them. This prayer goes out to anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day. I know that in the midst of every circumstance and situation, God is. God is. God is. And all indeed as well. And so I just say thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Infinite Presence. Thank you, Divine Mother, for the perfect manifestation of this word. Thank you. I'll just allow it to be now. And so